Good day and welcome back to another Dbz Dokkan battle video. In this video we are going to be taking a look at how Strength LR Cooler does in the red zone against Omega Shenron. So obviously him facing Broly is very difficult, and I do think I want to show him against Broly. Broly is a very difficult opponent for him to face due to the fact that Broly is obviously, he's AGL type, which gives Cooler quite a few problems, Cooler being strength type. But generally speaking, I wanted to see how he did against Omega. I think his team is well placed to take on Omega. And yeah, obviously, I think he's a pretty solid unit. So, the main thing with Cooler, as with most units, is Cooler needs time to build up. That's obviously something that's apparent whenever you look at like Cooler as a unit, and especially at 55%, he does take time to build up. Now that doesn't mean that he's bad in the beginning of events, it just means that you really don't want him in that first slot. Another thing with Cooler is his performance can vary quite wildly. The difference between a turn where Cooler fires 2 additional super attacks compared to a turn where he fires 1 additional super attack is quite disparaging because of the fact that he greatly raises defense on his 12 key. I think they could have made him greatly raise defense on his ultra super attack, or at least raise defense, just because it feels like without his additionals, which are still RNG until after the 10th attack, Cooler's defense is not super duper high. That being said, Cooler does an absolute insane amount of damage, so Cooler can absolutely decimate red zone bosses once he gets going. He doesn't have any built-in crit, so if you are going to take a Cooler, especially at 55%, you're going to want to try and stick on as much crit equipment as possible. Now, it's not guaranteed to be very good, but I definitely suggest that you do that, because Cooler still has a chance to fire 4 super attacks in his base form, but he's really only got that base crit chance. So if you can stick another, even just 6 or 5 crit on him, you're throwing in another 10% into the mix, he's got a much higher chance of really showing off that good performance. And Cooler's main performance factor is killing off the boss before he dies. If Cooler can kill the boss before he dies, then generally speaking, you don't have a big problem in running Cooler. If Cooler cannot kill off the boss, then you can run into a little bit of an issue. Not a huge one, but just a little bit of an issue. Now, in terms of Cooler, obviously just to recap everything about him, he's a Terrifying Conquerors or movie bosses lead. He's got an extra 30% for transformation boost category. He greatly raises on 12 key, raises attack on his 18 key, which means he's getting progressively stronger the whole time. He then also has a medium chance of launching a additional super attack for 3 turns. When there's another Terrifying Conquerors category ally on the team, he has key +5 and attack and defense of 100%. He has an additional key +1 and attack and defense of 10% for each attack performed. He then also launches 2 additional attacks, each of which has a medium chance of becoming a super attack. He will also launch a guaranteed additional super attack after or from the turn in which he performs the 10th attack in battle. So generally speaking, if you get super lucky, that can be the 2nd turn that he's out, or the 3rd turn of battle. If you're unlucky, then that will be later on, but it happens quite early on. So in a lot of these events, he does have it built up quite nicely. Here you can see he's got 315k defense, which is very solid. We are rocking with no item right now, which is just obviously for the sake of seeing how Cooler tanks the 2nd phase here. Now 315k is pretty good. Obviously it doesn't look like a lot, but it is really solid, especially considering how much damage Cooler does. if he gets some additional super attacks here, he's going to really raise that defense quite a bit. So we get our first additional super, which is obviously very, very good. If we can get a second one, we'll take, well, we already will take singles. But if we get a second one, then we're actually really, really solid defensively. Even a super attack, I don't think at this point would kill us. Would still do a lot of damage, but it definitely would not kill us. And you can see that, you know, single digits perfect. The super attack comes, and yeah, 338k. It seems like a lot, but when you focus on the fact that these are 55% coolers, when you focus on the fact that, you know, it's still 2 additional supers, and it's just raw defense. Yeah, at the end of the day, it's not a distinctly huge amount of defense. It's still only just raw defense, and that is something that's, you know, very important to take note of. It is, at the end of the day, just raw numbers that Cooler works with. So when you think about it, he actually did pretty well there. And yeah, for me, I don't know, I think he did a pretty good job overall, at least from my perspective. You can see, I mean, like, look how much damage units take in this event. You know, Recruitment Guilder without their guard, they just take huge damage. Like, it's not, yeah, without a gimmick, without guard or evasion or damage reduction, units do just take a huge amount of damage. But here we're going to see Cooler. He's going to do a great job. This Cooler is fully built up, so he's got that guaranteed additional. You can see he's going to hit that guaranteed additional. Nice, big, chunky, huge damage, by the way, that he's doing. Gets another super. So at this point, we should be golden. We're taking single digits on super attacks. And Cooler's just looking super duper solid. All this damage, by the way, is essentially only been done by the 2 Coolers, if you really think about it. Like, if you look at which units have done this damage, we've had physical units, Recruitment Guilder, who do like absolutely no damage pretty much. And you've got Jason Berta, who also do pretty much no damage as well. So yeah, overall, it's just a very, very, very impressive performance by Cooler. Now this is obviously only the second phase, so yeah, it is going to be a little bit different against the int phase. A Rainbow Cooler will handle the int phase more than fine. Yeah, that is something I just want to point out. Yeah, a Rainbow Cooler will definitely be able to handle the int phase from a damage perspective. This Cooler, not quite as much. Even fully built up, he will just take damage. 55% is just short of the raw stats needed. Like I said, Cooler is a raw stats unit. After super, he'll tank very well, but he is just a raw stats unit. So dupes benefit Cooler a lot, because when you're relying on raw defense, that additional 3000 defense that you can get from dupes is huge. Because if you think of it percentage wise, you know, for Cooler it's another 30% on top of his defense. So 315k becomes 400 and something k, you know, before obviously firing off his super attacks. And links also matter. You know, these Coolers aren't at level 10 links, and for Cooler, level 10 links means huge. Big Bad Bosses is a massive link. Thirst of Conquest, massive link. Metamorphosis, huge. So it's not just about Cooler getting dupes, it's also about link leveling. A link leveled Cooler is going to perform substantially better than a non-link level Cooler. That's just how Wicked Bloodlines units, or generally speaking villains units, work. They just have way more in the tank when they obviously transform, or when they have that increased link levels, I should say. So yeah, for me, yeah, obviously, how can I say, I think Cooler does pretty well. For the most part, I quite like him. I think he does an exceptional job. Considering these are 55% Coolers, I'm not even focusing on getting their links active. Like, you must understand also, this is not, I don't have the exact right setup to show off Cooler at his best. I don't have a lot of the units that really show off Cooler at his best. So, but Cooler at his best just does huge, like huge damage. You know, like just he can do insane amounts of damage. So yeah, he's just generally speaking pretty solid. Here, obviously, we've got the Golden Freezer tanking for him, which is your perfect scenario for this kind of situation. We've got Golden Freezer tanking, we've got Cooler in the second slot, and so we're going to see just how well he does, at least after one super. Ideally, we can get 2 supers, 2 or 3 supers would be good, just so we can get his defense up quite well. But this is a good scenario for him. Big damage, which is nice. Nice, big, chunky damage. You know, clearly doing huge damage. One whole bar, you know, always really good. If he had got additional super attacks, could have even called it 2 bars. 127,000, honestly not so bad. Yeah, another super would have really lowered that down. And this is only Cooler at 55%. And we don't get big links from Golden Freezer. This, unfortunately, Golden Freezer, he doesn't have big bad bosses. He doesn't have anything like that. So yeah, honestly speaking, I think Cooler did pretty well. For a 55% unit, I think he did a fantastic job. And yeah, I think overall he's definitely usable in Red Zone. It's just going to depend a little bit on your setup and your links that you provide him, and your dupes. But he can decimate Red Zone with the right build. That's going to be it from me. Cheers and bye.